It's the Brad and John Show.
The Brad and John Show. Today's date is January 6, 2026. This is the B block, the Bravo block, or as John refers to it as the Brad block, because what happens in the Brad block, John?
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
You are right as always. And what do we do in the top 3? Well, for Brad's top 3, what do we start off with?
It's number 3.
It's number 3.
Hold on a minute. I dropped my phone. I have everything on my phone. I literally dropped it on the phone, and it turned itself off. Matter of fact, it might be broken. Hold on a minute. Okay, here we go. Okay. I thought this was sort of an interesting story, and this is not any earth-shattering thing. It's an interesting story I read, and the title of the story was, America's Best Coffee Isn't Cafes Anymore. It's showing up at gas stations. Now, you're a coffee drinker, John. If you're out and about, where do you go for your coffee?
I never buy coffee outside of the house.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, when I worked in an office setting, I'd, occasionally make a Starbucks run, and pick up a Starbucks here and there, mostly just to get out of the office. But from what I hear, Brad, people who are coffee partisans say exactly what you're saying. There's some of the best coffee is at these gas stations.
Yes, and not only that, remember, I don't know if you remember this or not, but this is probably 5 or 10 years ago, there was supposedly a blind taste testing survey, and one of the top rated coffees at times, depending upon who the people were doing the taste test, but it rated above Starbucks was at Mickey D's. Remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, now it will burn your crotch if you're an old lady in the 1990s.
And here's the other thing, the thing that sort of cracks me up about this. In Washmo, this was a lady, and I know this lady. She started a thing. She had a networking building, like one of these co-working places called Exit 11, and she had a little coffee bar inside there. She was in the office building right there at Jefferson, I guess it was 14th Street or something like that. And everybody loved her coffee. So there was an abandoned gas station right up the street for her, and she bought one of these little trailers, like sort of like the little mobile, not like a food truck,
like
but
like a bookmobile back in the day.
Yeah, like a food trailer. And she converted it into a little place, and it was crazy time. And you see these scooters, coffees popping up everywhere and stuff like that. But what's interesting was, I don't know if you've seen this, at some of the Quick Trips, has your Quick Trip converted to this new coffee bar thing where it has these fancy looking nozzles that you put your coffee in? Have you seen this before yet, John?
No, I am a mobile on the run partisan. I don't do QT, but I haven't seen it at QT.
Well, there's a few of them. The one last time I saw it was the one out there at 364 and Kisker, right around Shelley Barr's neighborhood.
I know exactly where that is. Yeah.
They have the thing where you go over there, and it's really fancy thing, and it gives you I think it's like 15 or 20 different coffees, and it's almost like a bar tap kind of deal where you go up and you pull the thing down and it fills up your cup with that special coffee and stuff like that. I just thought this was an interesting story because of the fact that everybody hangs out at, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but for a long time people, you got to go to Starbucks for the best coffee. That's not the place anymore, right?
Yeah, not at all. And we've seen out in West County a bunch of those, not just scooters, but there's another place that has some sort of a number in the name. They're popping up like yard signs in October in a campaign.
And they don't work either. Hey, John, speaking of that, I need to talk to you about something in C Block, but you brought up an interesting point. Okay, we ready for number 2?
It's time for Brad's number 2.
It's time for Brad's number 2.
John's knocking them down today.
It's time for Brad's number 2.
I thought this story was interesting. The largest pension in government history is about ready to be issued to whom, John?
Hunter Biden?
No.
Who is it? I don't know.
His father.
Oh, why does he get such a big check? Because he was in the Senate for 91 years?
The article, which I found very interesting, is that he is, and this has to be approved. I'm thinking to myself, why does it have to be approved? But essentially, since he has been a, quote, government employee since I think 1972 when he first became a senator or something like that, he is essentially entitled to multiple different pensions, which total, you ready for this?
I can't wait.
$419,000 a year.
Not bad work, right? Hey, you know what? For all that time he spent on the government teat, Doesn't he deserve a little bit of government money?
You know what? I misread that. It's 417,000. The National Taxpayer Union Foundation estimates that Biden could be collecting up to a $417,000 pension, more than he was making a year as president and more than previous presidents. As a result of collecting pensions from several retirement programs, he qualifies for after starting his career in Washington in the 1970s. And it goes on to say the estimate comes from Biden's long-term career in politics, meaning he has capability to receive benefits under the Former President's Act of 1958 and retirement benefits from the civil service retirement system for his time as a senator and vice president. Now, there's an interesting part of this story in that one point in time there was congressional action essentially to limit the presidential pensions to $200,000 a year. Matter of fact, and it said that and guess who shot it down?
Who's that?
The bill passed the House and the Senate and was vetoed by Barack Obama. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so essentially there was going to be a bill that was going to limit the presidential pensions to $200,000 a year, but Barack Obama said, no, I know that when myself and Michelle are going to be discriminated against because we were the first black president and the first black first lady, that we're going to need every penny of that because we may not have a pot to urinate in, and we will not be able to have a house in Martha's Vineyard, our house in Hawaii, our house in Malibu. So we need every penny of that money so we can, because when we get out of office, we won't know where the next dime's coming from. What, don't you think, John?
I agree with Mike Obama on almost everything. I certainly agree with her there. I mean, she was the first person to ever put a fully organic garden at the White House, Brad.
Yeah, and I think Trump tore that out, didn't he?
I think he did too. Well, you have to make room for a ballroom.
Right. Okay. Ready for number one?
And now, big finish, Brad's number.
There are times when I listen to Mark Reardon on 97.1 in the afternoon where I 100% agree with him. And him and I are sort of along the same line. He has a journalism degree. I have a journalism degree. He has a journalism degree from Mizzou. He went to Mizzou's J School. I didn't go to that prestigious place. I just have an SIUE journalism degree and a Lindenwood journalism master's degree. And yesterday, he brought up the fact that, and he watches Channel 5 News, and he said that they gave this great big intro over the weekend of like, and because of the invasion of Venezuela, a large crowd of people have gathered to protest the president's presence of grabbing the president of Venezuela and bringing him back to the United States. Okay.
And there were how many people there, Brad? I saw him tweet about this yesterday.
12 people.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge crowd. People are packing on that bridge.
Right. And guess where they were? They were on...
they were at an overpass. Where was it?
The Tam Overpass. The Tam Overpass.
Oh, yeah. That's a famous one.
Right. If you know what we're talking about with St. Louis News, the Tam Overpass is the overpass that is not labeled. There's not an exit ramp or an entrance ramp. But if you're going west on 40, 64, whatever they call it, and you pass underneath Hampton, the next overpass is the Tam Overpass, and if it takes you from Dogtown across 4064 right into the St. Louis Zoo. It takes you right in Forest Park, right where the St. Louis Zoo is. And it's notorious because of the fact that when there's a first snow, all the TV trucks line up at the Tam Overpass, and then they have the shot where the anchor or the reporter standing with his back against the Tam Overpass, and they shoot the shot shooting east, and the reporter says, and look at all the snow. The traffic here on westbound 40 is slowing down because of the snow. And sometimes you will see all three of the TV trucks up there at the same time, although they don't do the trucks too much anymore because they're phasing out the trucks. Did you know that, John?
I did not know that.
Yeah, because everybody's doing the backpack thing where you literally have like a backpack that has like this cellular modem in it. You plug your camera into that and you go live anywhere you want. You can go anywhere. I mean, literally, you can go. You can be live in 20 seconds. But that was the story, and he's exactly right, Mark Reardon, because it's a charade. Now, the problem with this is that this is the news you see, and it's to the point where there's somebody in the Channel 5 newsroom who's going like, oh, I think it's horrible what Trump's done. We need to do a package, as they call it, on how many people are protesting our terrible president. So what do? They find 12 protesters on the Tam Overpass, and it's a large crowd, John. Large crowd.
Now, you know what? Let me offer an alternative perspective there. I completely think you're right about it. And you said this was Channel 5?
Yeah, Channel 5.
So I completely agree that somebody there, or if not the entire newsroom, hates Trump and wants to cover a dozen people on an overpass. But my belief is that probably whoever the newsreader was, whoever the guy that was sitting there actually reading this live on the air, he didn't bother scanning whatever the story is about. He didn't watch the visuals. He just heard there was a protest and decided to say, well, the overpass is packed without having any idea how many people were there. So I would chalk that up to general laziness and not necessarily liberalism.
John, have you ever watched the movie Anchorman?
I have not. Oh,
Well-
yeah, I have. And the gentleman, the Will Ferrell character, begins reading things that are on the teleprompter,
Right.
and he doesn't have any idea what he's saying.
Right. That's the point of it. Is that,
Yeah. So somebody wrote, sorry to interrupt, somebody probably maybe wrote the lead in for him. And the guy reading it has no idea if there's 12 people or 1,200 there.
Right. Now, the other interesting thing, what Reardon was talking about was, I don't know if I got her name right. Is it Catherine Herridge? She's is that the right name? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't know who that is.
She's a woman that worked at CBS, and then she went to Fox. Now she's doing her own independent news thing. And she was recently interviewed about a couple of different things. And one of the things she was interviewed about was she got a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop. She worked for CBS News at the time. She got a copy of the disk drive out of Hunter Biden's laptop, and she went through it. And the interesting thing she pointed out was that during going through all the different things, Hunter Biden on numerous occasions was dropping the N-bomb, the N-word, in his conversations with
Which
people
was
that record.
necrophilia.
Right. No, it's not necrophilia.
Oh,
it was the N-bomb, the N-word, okay? And she wanted to do a whole report on this. And the CBS folks say, no, not necessarily. We don't want that. The interesting point she brought up was she got permission from a lot of the higher-ups at CBS News to do some in-depth stuff on the Hunter Biden laptop. But the problem she had was the rank-and-file editors and producers who sandbagged her. So when she got to the point where she says, okay, I'm going to do a package, by the way, of TV news, we've seen it where they go, here's Jim Smith and reporting from the from Forrestal, and then they have the guy, he does a live stand up, and then they have B-roll of all the protesters out in the parking lot and we don't want any power plants here, that kind of stuff. Okay, so she was trying to put together some of these packages, and when she was putting this stuff into the system for the producers and the editors to do it, they just wouldn't do it. We're not going to do that. And she talked about the fact that the bias was not from the upper end of the news echelon, at least in this case in CBS. It was from the rank and file producers and editors who just said, nah, we're not doing that. Because of the fact that...
Yeah, I completely believe that. And they're probably also, let's face it, on a bit of a power trip. They see people higher on the food chain that they think aren't as smart as they are. And they say, well, those people may read the news or think they make the decisions, but we're the one that actually write the scripts.
Now, the interesting thing is what Catherine Herridge, I think that's her name, Catherine Herridge did not say. And I was most upset with her. Because
what was that?
Well, she could have easily really told the problem that existed with CBS News. And all she would have to do was just channel my mother and says, some dumb man's in charge. That's all she would have to do.
That's right. Blame it on the patriarchy. It's always a convenient excuse.
Right. Some dumb man's in charge. I mean, once you understand that, if you don't know what I'm talking about, my mother used to always say that if we went somewhere and we got a bad meal or we got bad service at a place. I remember one time we had tires. My mom had tires put on her car. And some reason they didn't do something right. And she got really mad at them. And she came back and she stormed into the waiting room and she goes, some dumb man in charge is really messing with my car. Okay, Mom.
And it's the fact that a woman wouldn't be strong enough to lift the tire.
Right. Okay, that's my top three.
Speaking of dumb men, they hold on to information so tightly that they don't even tell their co-host who the surprise guest is in C Block. And John's just got to wait. I don't want to know, Brad. No spoilers.
Do you have any idea?
No, I do know. I just sent you a screenshot, by the way, that Jason Law for St. Louis County exec was just endorsed by the firefighters union, Brad. You know that Mike Kehoe got elected governor largely on the early strength of getting a lot of first responders endorsements. IAFF, International Association of Firefighters, endorses Jason Law for St. Louis County Executive. That's breaking news.
Yeah, I did see that, and I thought to myself, interesting. Okay, we'll have to take a break, and let me just make sure this is going to work right, and we'll be right back